My brother-in-law bullied me mercilessly in high school. Years later, he needs my kidney, and my family thinks I should forgive him. I, 34 am, never thought I'd be in this position. Sitting at my parents' dining table last Sunday, surrounded by family, with my sister sobbing across from me, and everyone looking at me like I was the villain in this story. Let me back up. My brother-in-law has been suffering from kidney disease for the past year. His condition has deteriorated rapidly in the last few months, and he's now on dialysis 3 times a week. The doctors have told him a transplant is the best option, and he's on the waiting list, but that could take years. My sister called me last week, her voice shaking. She asked if I would come to Sunday dinner at our parents' house because she had something important to discuss with the whole family. I agreed, thinking maybe they were moving or something. I should mention that my brother-in-law and I have history. We went to the same high school, where he was 2 years ahead of me. He wasn't just any random upperclassman. He was my personal tormentor for 3 years straight. He would trip me in the hallways, knock books out of my hands, and call me names I still can't bring myself to repeat. Once, he locked me in the janitor's closet for hours until the night custodian found me. Another time, he spread rumors that I was peeping in the girls' locker room, which led to me being ostracized for months. The worst was when he cornered me in the bathroom with his friends, held me down, and cut chunks of my hair off while laughing. I came home crying that day, and my parents called the school, but nothing substantial ever happened to him. When my sister started dating him 8 years ago, I was shocked. I tried to tell her about our past, but she dismissed it as boys being boys and high school drama that I should have gotten over by now. She said he had changed, matured. Maybe he had, but he never acknowledged what he did to me, never apologized. At their wedding, he acted like we were old pals, slapping my back and introducing me to his friends as his little brother. So there I was at Sunday dinner. My parents, my sister and her husband, my aunt and uncle who live nearby, and me. After the main course, my sister clinked her glass and announced that her husband's kidney function was down to 15% and that he needed a transplant soon. Then she turned to me with tears in her eyes. "We've been testing family members for compatibility," she said. "Mom and Dad aren't matches. I'm not a match either. But the preliminary blood work suggests you might be." The table went quiet. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. "We're asking if you would consider being tested as a donor," she continued. "You could save his life." Before I could respond, my brother-in-law spoke up, his voice weaker than I remembered, but still carrying that same entitled tone. "Look, I know we had our differences in school," he said, the first acknowledgement in 15 years that anything had happened between us. "But that was kid stuff. This is life and death." My mother reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Sweetie, I know it's a big ask, but family helps family." I looked around the table. My sister's pleading eyes. My parents' expectant faces. My brother-in-law, thinner than I'd ever seen him, but still with that smirk that haunted my teenage years. "You want me to undergo major surgery and give up an organ?" I said slowly. "For the person who made my high school years a living hell?" My sister started to interrupt, but I held up my hand. "Let me finish. Do you know what it's like to go to school every day in fear? To check around corners before walking down hallways? To eat lunch alone in a bathroom stall because you're afraid of what might happen in the cafeteria?" I turned to my brother-in-law. "You never apologized. Not once in all these years. You acted like it never happened. And now you want a piece of me?" Literally, the silence was deafening. My mother's face had gone pale. My father was staring at his plate. My sister was crying silently. "I'm not saying no," I finally said. "But I'm not saying yes either. This isn't a simple favor like helping someone move. This is my body, my health, my life at risk too." I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I need time to think. And maybe, just maybe, I need to hear a real apology first. Not because you need something from me, but because you actually understand what you did." I left without waiting for dessert. My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls from family members since then. My sister thinks I'm being cruel. My parents are torn. My aunt, surprisingly, called to say she understands my position. It's been 3 days, and I'm still wrestling with this decision. Part of me wants to be the bigger person, to save a life regardless of the past. Another part feels like I'm being manipulated and used once again by the same person who tormented me. Am I the jerk for hesitating? For wanting acknowledgement of the pain before I give up a kidney? I honestly don't know anymore. Update 1. It's been a week since the family dinner, and a lot has happened. First, thank you to everyone who commented. Reading your perspectives helped me sort through my own feelings. The day after I posted, my brother-in-law texted asking if we could meet alone. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop halfway between our homes. I was nervous. We'd never had a one-on-one conversation that didn't end with me being humiliated. When I arrived, he was already there, looking gaunt and tired. We sat in awkward silence for a few minutes before he cleared his throat. "I've been thinking about what you said," he began. "About high school. I don't have a good excuse. I was a terrible person to you." He went on to describe specific incidents, things I thought he'd forgotten, but that he recalled in vivid detail. The closet incident, the hair cutting, the rumors. He remembered it all. "I was insecure and angry about my own home life," he said. "My dad was abusive, and I took it out on people I thought were weaker. That's not an excuse, just the truth. I became the bully I hated at home." He told me he'd been in therapy for years dealing with his childhood trauma, but had never properly addressed what he'd done to others. He admitted he'd been too ashamed to bring it up when he started dating my sister, and then it became easier to pretend it never happened. I don't deserve your kidney, he said finally. I don't even deserve your forgiveness. But I am truly sorry for everything I did. If I could take it back, I would. I sat there, stunned. It was the apology I'd wanted for 15 years, but I hadn't expected it to affect me so strongly. I told him I needed more time to think about the donation, but that I appreciated his honesty. When I got home, my sister called. She was crying again, but this time apologizing for dismissing my experiences. She said her husband had told her everything in detail, and she hadn't realized the extent of the bullying. She said she would support whatever decision I made about the kidney. I've scheduled the compatibility testing for next week. I'm still not 100% sure what I'll do if I'm a match, but I'm leaning toward donation. Not because I owe him anything, but because I don't want to make my decision based on vengeance or the past. I want to make it based on who I am now and the kind of person I want to be. I'll update again after the testing. Update 2. The results came back yesterday. I'm a match. The doctor explained all the risks and recovery process to me. It's major surgery with a 4 to 6 week recovery time, and while donor outcomes are generally good, there are always risks with any operation. After getting the news, I went for a long walk to clear my head. I thought about my brother-in-law's apology, which seemed genuine. I thought about my sister, who has been respectful of my space since our last conversation. I thought about what I would want someone to do if I were in his position. When I got home, I called them both and said I would do it. My sister broke down crying, thanking me over and over. My brother-in-law was quiet at first, then said simply, I don't deserve this, but thank you. I promise I won't waste this chance. The surgery is scheduled for next month. My parents are relieved, though my mom pulled me aside yesterday and whispered that she would have understood if I had said no. I'm nervous about the procedure, but strangely at peace with my decision. This isn't about erasing the past or pretending the bullying didn't happen. It's about choosing not to let those experiences define who I am today or dictate my capacity for compassion. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. At least that's what I'm telling myself as I prepare for what comes next. Final update. It's been 3 months since the transplant. The surgery went well for both of us. Recovery was harder than I expected. The pain was intense for the first week, and it took me nearly 2 months to feel somewhat normal again. I'm still not back to 100%, but the doctors say that's to be expected. My brother-in-law is doing remarkably well. His body accepted the kidney, and his color and energy have returned. The transformation is actually startling. I didn't realize how sick he had been until I saw him healthy again. Something unexpected has happened between us. During our hospital stays and subsequent recoveries, we've had more honest conversations than in all the previous years combined. He's opened up about his abusive childhood in ways that help me understand his behavior. I've shared how his bullying affected my confidence and relationships for years afterward. Last week, he asked if I would consider going with him to speak at our old high school about bullying and its long-term impact. I was hesitant at first, but agreed. We're scheduled to talk to the students next month. My sister and I have grown closer through this experience too. She's been my primary caretaker during recovery, and we've had long talks about the past, present, and future. She's acknowledged that she should have taken my experiences more seriously from the beginning. As for me, I don't regret my decision. Not because my brother-in-law deserved my kidney. He didn't, and he knows it. But because I needed to know I could rise above the past. The donation wasn't about forgiveness. It was about refusing to let old wounds dictate my actions forever. That said, I won't pretend we're one big happy family now. There are still awkward moments and old feelings that surface unexpectedly. Healing, both physical and emotional, takes time. But we're all trying, and that counts for something. If there's anything I've learned from this experience, it's that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't holding on to anger or letting it go. It's using it to create something new and unexpected. In my case, that's a relationship built on hard-earned honesty rather than convenient amnesia about the past. I don't know what the future holds for us, but for now, I'm focusing on getting fully healthy again and moving forward one day at a time.